everybody. Welcome to another special interest episode of 10 Words or Less, in which I ask brief questions of interesting people and ask for brief answers in return. I'm Michael Prager, a well-being coach, professional speaker, and the author of 2 books, Fat Boy, Thin Man, and Sustainable You, both of which you'll not only gain from, but which you'll really enjoy reading. Of course, I'm the author, and I would have to say that, but I really believe it too. Today's guest has written or contributed to 13 books, including 78 important questions every leader should ask and answer. She's a certified speaking professional, a designation earned by only about 10% of speakers in the National Speaker Association. She's also a past president of that organization, of which I am a member. Her topic is change, as reflected in the name of her website, change101.com. Now here's my usual admonishment to those of you playing at home. 10 words is an ethic, an intention, not a limit. So please, no counting. And if you think it's so easy, let's see you try it. Okay, Chris, I know the answer. I've known the answer for many years, but I always start this way. Please spell your first and last names as you wish it to appear in print.
It is Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Clarke, C-L-A-R-K-E, -Epstein, E-P-S-T-E-I-N. Unless you're an airline, and then you can't use the hyphen, so you run it all together and it looks like Clarke-Epstein. Which is how I get paged in an airport. So I always have to listen for a name that isn't mine.
Well, when you're here next month, I'll try to remember it is hyphenated and it's not Clarke-Epstein.
Yeah, there we go.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Born?
Yeah, that would be appropriate.
Born when and where?
I was born in Chicago, Illinois on September 5th, 1948.
Thank you. Was there anything unusual about the circumstances surrounding your birth?
Yes, the most interesting thing was I was the only child in my entire family for 7 years. So I was doted on. I saw no reason that my brother needed to be added to the family unit. And if you could see the pictures of me at his baptism, if looks could kill, he would have ended his life at that point.
Where do you live now?
I live in Wausau, Wisconsin, otherwise referred to as up north. And it's W-A-U-S-A-U.
Thank you. I've had Chinese food in Wausau, Wisconsin.
Well, very good. Did you have it at the Peking?
That I don't remember. I was in college. I visited a friend in Marshfield, and going to Wausau was the big city.
Yes, we are the big city, which is always amusing to me. In contrast to Chicago, where I grew up.
Yes, yes. Describe your family situation, please.
I live with my husband, Frank, of 34 years. I have 2 children, both of whom live in the Wausau area, and I have 5 grandchildren also who live in this area. So we go to lots of concerts, school plays, family gatherings. My mother lives here in assisted living. So the family has migrated to up north.
Got it. So I already talked a little bit in the intro, but please tell us in 10 words or less, what do you do for work?
I am a professional speaker and writer and trainer and consultant, all in that arena of helping organizations deal with the people side of change.
Got it. Okay. What was your first paying job?
Wow, that was a really long time ago. When I started the business, I started with a partner, and she and I gave a presentation for the University of Green Bay, an outreach program. It was called Take This Job and Love It. And we were paid the mighty sum of $250, which we could split between the two of us.
I got it. That was not, one thing about these interviews, I find that people, maybe I would too, but I find that respondents get locked in. You and I are speaking because we're both speakers, and that's how we met. So the assumption is that all my questions are about speaking.
First paying job.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So I really did take that the wrong way. It still was a long time ago. My first paying job was babysitting / ironing for our next door neighbor. And they were also members of our church. It was disconcerting. I was ironing his boxer shorts. And when I saw him in church, I thought, are you wearing the ones with horseshoes or little hearts? It was not a religious experience.
Tell me some wisdom you retain from the job of babysitting and ironing.
Exceed your customer's expectation. I was hired to babysit, and that was boring because it really was a baby who slept most of the time. And so I asked the mother of the house, isn't there something else that I could do while I'm here? And hence the ironing assignment.
Got it. Tell me a change that you made early in life.
I have buried in a file somewhere an interview with a newspaper when I was in high school. Whoops, I disappeared for a minute. Interview from high school when I was graduating of what I wanted to do in my life. And I said I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. And I went to college and realized that probably kindergarten teacher wasn't going to be what I was going to do, and ended up going into business, and have been in some form of sales ever since.
What's the best change you ever made?
Recognizing that without family success, any other kind of success isn't all that meaningful over time.
Got it. What's a needed change that you are becoming aware of?
Personally, professionally, or in the world?
You get to choose.
Okay. In our current election cycle, which is sort of all-consuming, I think it is the biggest change we need to make is to think about what's going to happen after November 8th. How are we going to reunite as a country and move forward? Because we have big issues that we need to deal with.
Thank you, Chris. What led you to be a professional speaker?
A really bad boss. I was working in a corporate environment, and I had a boss who was not only a bad leader, but he was pretty bigoted, and it became a huge values mismatch. And then, fortunately, my corporation freed me up to do something different.
Well, there's a euphemism for you.
Mm-hmm.
How many audiences have you presented to, roughly?
Oh, I've been doing this for 30 years. And probably, I need somebody to do the math, probably at least 50 to 100 audiences a year. So that's a lot.
Okay, well, people can do the math based on what you told them.
Exactly.
What brought you to change as a topic?
Early in my speaking career, I spoke on lots of different topic areas, and realized at a certain point that no matter what the topic was, sooner or later I got around to talking about how change was necessary in order to implement any of the skills we were talking about. And so I realized that change picked me as much as I picked it as a topic. Got it.
What's the needed change you most often encounter with clients?
I'm going to come at it from two directions. From individuals sitting in the audience, a strong belief that they can, in fact, change their circumstances. From the organizations, that if they ignore the people, what's happening to people when they institute change, there's a high probability that the change will fail.
Do you have any thoughts on how you can foster the feeling for individuals that they can change?
I think that if you ask people to reflect on their own lives, everybody can find examples where, and it's usually the worst thing that ever happened to you. If you ask people to reflect back on what was the worst thing that ever happened to you, and if there's been enough time and you ask them to analyze that, they'll say, you know, it was the worst thing in the moment, but now as I reflect back, it was the best thing that could have happened. And so they actually have had a major change. It probably wasn't of their own choosing, and they probably didn't analyze it as they were going through it. So it's proving it to yourself that you've already done it is, I think, the best way to go at that.
Excellent, thank you. Tell me something that guests at NSA New England will learn from your presentation.
They will learn that no matter what their topic area is, the most important thing that they're going to be bringing to their audiences is helping them figure out an action plan for change based on the experience that they just had. It is taking the impact out of the presentation and moving it into the real world.
Excellent. Tell me something else that members will learn. Well, it's not just members. I want to be clear. Anyone can come. Mm-hmm. And sorry, Chris, that was rude.
No, it's okay.
The blog post that I make right after this will have the link to sign up.
And I will be excited to meet the, shall we call it, the family and friends of the New England chapter. What I think one of the biggest things that they'll take away from our time together is why now it is so crucial that no matter what channel we use, whether we're talking about our writing or our speaking or our training or our consulting, if we cannot articulate the value that we bring to the organizations that pay us and the participants that are with us, if we can't articulate that in a clear way, then we're not going to get hired, number one. And the second thing is you can make more money by being really good at that.
Thank you, Chris. Those sounds like a couple of enticing things. Is anything else you'd add as a third thing that people might get?
We'll have fun. Yeah. And people will be rolling up their sleeves doing real work. This is not theory. This is about how do we make this stuff really happen for ourselves, i.e. make more money, and for our audience members, be more successful with the skills that we can share with them. Okay.
Tell me, how is the speaking industry changing?
The speaking industry is changing because it's demanding more from us. It is a, this is really going to violate the 10 words. It's a paradox. People in the speaking industry are asking us as presenters to do things in shorter and shorter time periods. You know, what used to be a full day program, can you do it in a half a day? What used to be a half a day, can you do it in an hour? Because time is such a precious commodity. And there is a fiction that the younger audience members can't sustain attention for that amount of time. And I say it as a fiction, they won't sustain attention if it's not well done. So here's the paradox. At the same time that we're being asked to compress in time, we're being asked to guarantee greater transfer of learning. And the only way that that can happen is if you have enough time to actually do what you're learning. It's the difference about reading a book about riding a bike and going outside and getting on a bike and ride. You can read a book to a child about riding a bike in 20 minutes. But if you're going to take them out and have them ride, fall off, and then all of a sudden get it, that's going to take you at least half a day. So that's the paradox that exists right now. And we're right in the middle of that.
Got it. Tell me someone outside your family who deserves more credit.
Or is this another one of those make the question up as you start to answer it?
No, it's well, it's a question, and you can pass on it, or you can think of someone who is doing good work and hasn't been recognized adequately in your opinion. It could be someone you know, it could be someone that we all know.
I would, and interestingly enough, I just talked to him this morning, Rick Maurer, who is a colleague of mine and wrote this, among other books, wrote Beyond the Wall of Resistance, is one of the smartest people I know about change. Not only smart in his theoretical understanding, but smart in his practical, here's what you can do to make the situation better.
Got it. Just noticed Frank walking through. Give my regards to him.
Yes, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
No
Okay,
worries.
okay. Yeah.
Could I also ask you, over your right shoulder is on the wall is an award.
Yes.
A medal. What's that for?
Oh, that's well, you may think it's one thing, but that is a medal that I got from the United Way here in town. It's not my CSP medal. My CSP medal is up on the shelf somewhere. So do you want me to talk about that medal, or do you want me to talk about CSP?
You have to,
or both.
I just wanted to know what the thing was.
That was, I was named Volunteer of the Year by our United Way here in Marathon County. It was a wonderful wonderful honor and great ceremony. And not only did they give me the medal, but they didn't think I'd wear it, so they gave it to me in the frame, which was
very nice.
Kind of nice.
And so did you have to take the frame apart so you could wear it on dates and stuff like that?
Actually, when I feel the need to wear my medal, I wear my CSP medal, because that one is freestanding. So
I see. Yep. I see. And when is the last time you wore your CSP medal?
The last time I wore my CSP medal was probably it's a number of years ago. I can't remember, when we made an effort to bring our CSP medals with us to the ceremony at the NSA National Convention in the summer, to honor the new CSPs, because that's when people are awarded that achievement. And so we all brought ours and wore them on the day of the ceremony.
So since it has come up, please tell our viewers in 10 words or less, what's CSP? I did mention it in the opening, but I didn't. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Well, CSP is the highest earned award, or it's not actually an award, it's a designation. So in the speaking industry, CSP would be the equivalent to a CPA in the accounting world, or I'm trying to think of some other well-known awards like that. It is given to you for the body of work, for the client testimonials that you get, and for sustainability of a practice over time. And it's a really cool thing. I'm very proud to have it after my name.
Well, I congratulate you for having it. You've had it for a while, right?
Yes, mine was awarded at our, or I earned it at our convention in 1992, I think, in Dallas, Texas.
What's a common impediment to change? We already talked about that.
Yeah.
What's something, let's get that one too. Something you wish everybody, now we're talking about the world, something you wish everybody would just change.
Listening with a closed mind. You know, listening with your brain saying, okay, you can stop talking now because I know what I'm going to say. And I would like it to be my turn. So I wish we would stop pretending that we're listening when we're really not. And I think that applies to parents with children, with adults to kids, with adults to adults, with bosses to reportees. I think it applies universally. We are a nation of non-listeners.
I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't get that. Could you say it again?
Yes,
Just
let me try.
kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say it louder because oftentimes people think if I say it louder, then, excuse me, you'll get it.
So my last question about change, do you find you change your mind a lot?
I am a highly, I live a lot of my life in my head. So when I am given a rational reason to look at something differently, I am pretty open to that. If it's an emotionally based argument, not so much. But I realize that that's my bias, so I fight against it. Because if you disregard people's feelings, you're missing most of the message.
Excellent. Thank you for that. That's very helpful for me personally.
Yeah.
So why are you coming halfway across the country to talk to a bunch of speakers with just expenses to compensate you?
I'm glad you asked because I have a visual aid. The reason I'm coming is because I ran across the research of Robert Brinkerhoff, who's a professor emeritus at Western Michigan University. And his research said that when people learn new stuff, 15% of the people in an audience will use what they learn. 70% of the audience won't do anything with what they hear. Or I take that back, sorry. 70% will try something and fail and then just give it up. And 15% will actually implement something. That means that 85% of the people in our audiences aren't really using the messages that we try to give. And that breaks my heart because I know speakers, members of your chapter, and the people who will be with us in just a brief period of time. And these are people who care passionately about their expertise. And they're believing that what they're doing is causing people to use what they get in their sessions. And I'm saying we're not paying enough attention to that. So I am passionate about that and on a tear. And so any chance I get to talk to purveyors of information and help them understand that they really need to up their game to make sure that something actually happens with their information. That's I'm there.
Got it. Got it. Well, I've reached the end of my questions. Is there a question I should have asked you?
I'm trying. I've got an answer. I want to formulate it. Yeah. Why don't you ask me why people think change is so hard?
Chris, why do people think change is so hard?
What a great question. We are biologically predisposed to resist change. Our brain, more than anything else, wants to be efficient. And efficiency is just keep doing what you've been doing. So one of the reasons that we react negatively to a change sort of out of the box is because our brain is saying, no, that will take too much energy and bandwidth. So keep doing what you have been doing. So resistance to change is a biological reaction. People are not bad or slothful or all the kind of negatives because they have that change. It's our biology. So that's what makes it difficult right from the get-go, is that we have to transcend our biological imperative.
Excellent.
But we can do it.
Got it. Well, thank you very much for your time, Chris Clarke-Epstein. She'll be coming
You're very welcome.
NSA New England on November 5th at the Embassy Suites Hotel in Waltham, Massachusetts. Anyone can come. Whether you remember or not, if you sign up more than a week in advance, you get a better price.
Cool.
And as I said earlier, there will be in the blog post that accompanies this interview a link to how you can sign up. Chris, thank you very much for your time. It's been enlightening. I feel better about some things that I already knew because now I've got an expert telling me that it's right.
And I'm more than 50 miles away, and I do have a leather briefcase.
I don't even get what that means.
That's the definition of an expert. You come from more than 50 miles away, and you have a leather briefcase. So excellent. I qualify.
Excellent. I'll have to work on my qualifications then.
Yeah, when I speak in Wisconsin, sometimes I have to take a detour.
Well, it's funny because wherever I am, I'm not 50. I'm there, so I can't be 50 miles away.
Well, you have to come from more than 50 miles away. It's back to the old biblical. You can't be a prophet in your own town. It's a variation on that one.
Got it.
Michael, what a pleasure it's been to chat with you this morning.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.